Okay, so I had talked for like 25 minutes. I had talked for like 25 minutes and it wasn't recording. But the great thing about House Calls with Dr. Rory T. Edwards is that our messages are genuine. Our messages are very informative and our messages are ours. So we're not going to make up something. It's not something that we can't repeat. Now, will the message be similar? It definitely will. But we want to welcome you. Today is November 14th, 2024, and we're talking today on House Calls about what is the most powerful gift ever given to mankind? And what if I told you it was the lie? What if I told you it was the lie? Now, some people are going to say, well, how do you come up with that? Well, we know over the last few months, and we know last week, there are some people who are very upset about a process that took place. And I'm not going to really get into it, but I will circle through and back through some political rhetoric. And I want people to know that it's not about what my choices are, but it's about what your choices are. And it's about how you make choices based on sitting in the truth or manipulating information so that it becomes very, very supportive of your thoughts and your journey. So, what is the purpose of a lie? It says the purpose is to explore the concept of lying, not as a mere act of deception, but a phenomenon that has shaped humanity, evolution, relationships, and history. Why are we talking about this? I want to talk about lies because lies have been the most essential part of the narrative, not just of the world, but also of individuals. And I'm trying to get people to understand, and I'm trying to explain to people what psychologically happens when you constantly live in a world of lies. This is what you have to be very conscious of. Now, why do I say this? Well, one of the things is very, very important. The motto of the Rory T. Edwards Group is you cannot withdraw what you did not deposit. And what happens when I say this is that the very simple concept is that every day you get an opportunity of time deposited into your life account. You also get an opportunity to deposit resources into your life account. You also get an opportunity to deposit truths into your life account. And what you do with that creates the person that you become. Because you withdraw from your life account based on all of the resources that you dump into your life account every day. Either you dump or you withdraw. And now, for you to grow, you have to withdraw because it's going to take an investment for you to withdraw from a particular place or to go to a particular place. So, let's talk about today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do this show like it's going to be segments. It's going to be like 6 segments, and I'm going to define what a lie is based on my research, and I'm going to talk about the gift and aspects of a lies, if that really is true. I'm going to talk about the dual nature of lies. I'm going to talk about, is the lie the greatest gift or the greatest curse? And then I'm going to have some closing remarks. And I also want to ask you all, the audience, questions, but I'm also going to end today with a poem. So let me talk about the lies because I think it's very, very important that we understand how inundated we are with lies. Well, when you talk about different lies, defining a lie, the lies are broadly defined by not just falsehood, but by distortion or reality of individuals or society to accept or to enforce, right? The lies are accepted by individuals or societies to accept or to enforce. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's talk about some things. Let's talk about some things. Let's talk about what type of lies there are. And so you'll see, we were told when we were young, don't tell any white lies, right? So I was always wondering, what is a white lie? I mean, why you attach a color to a lie? And then you look at things now, Black Friday, this day, all these colors that are attached to things, and I don't understand the significance of the color. But let's talk about white lies. They're supposed to be minor distortions to avoid harm or discomfort. So my example earlier was that you get stopped by a police officer, you speed around a car, don't see the police officer, boom, he catches you, you're going too fast. He pulls you over, you say something like you make up that I didn't realize that I was speeding, I was going around the car, because they kept hitting their brakes. I didn't want to cause an accident, so I just wanted to get around them. Knowing the truth that you were just trying to get past the car going fast. Because if you told the truth, you might receive a ticket, but your purpose is to not get the ticket. So you tell a white lie, right? That's also one of the lies about the omission and the deception of telling the truth. Of telling the truth because you think the truth will cause more harm to your outcome than trying to concoct the lie, right? What about the other type of lies? Societal lies. What about the myths or narratives constructed and widely accepted to control, comfort, or inspire groups? Let's talk about one of the things I talked about was that if you have children and stuff around, you might want to cover their ears, you might want to send them into another room. Because one of the lies that we were told our whole life is that during Christmas time, that there's a jolly, fat, Caucasian man who comes down your chimney and he buys gifts for your children. Now, to any melanated child, what does that say to them? What does that say to them? It tells them that this man has to bring you gifts because your parents are unable to get you gifts at Christmas. So some people may say, no, you're taking it all wrong. I'm not taking it all wrong. I'm just stating the facts. What do you tell every child, every person that believes in the Santa Claus, that the other people who are important in their life are not capable of providing them gifts? So you tell people Santa Claus. And the kids grow up and say, you go outside and they ask the other kids, what does Santa Claus bring you? As a parent, I'm standing in the driveway talking about Santa Claus saying, bring a thing. I worked hard to buy those gifts for you. What does that do to my psyche? What does it do to your child's psyche? And why is people so against not telling their children that a Santa Claus doesn't exist? We talk about the tooth fairy. Your children's teeth fall out. You go put $5 under there for the tooth. And you tell your child that a fairy godmother came and took the tooth and they left you $5. Well, I didn't know fairies operated in American currency. What about a child who lives in Japan? What do? Do they tell their child that the fairy godmother left their currency under their pillow also? These are myths that I had grown up with listening to. So those are the type of lies that also can change the narrative of how we engage with each other. Now let's talk about segment 2, the gift and aspects of lies. Protection and survival. Lies historically allow people to protect themselves from harm. So, do lies help people protect themselves from harm? If you're in a situation and you have to tell a lie to get out of it, that might be factual. It may be used in a way that you have to get out. But then when you come out of the situation, how many people embellish the story to say what they did? You know, some people may say I was in a situation and, there were like 10 guys with guns on me and I had to maneuver. I fought 2. You see how the story starts to grow. You make a small story into something that elevates your worth to yourself. But in reality, you must remember who you're talking to, because now when you amongst other people and that person's in the room and you change the story, you wonder why that person's looking at you side-eye. Because see, now you're trying to change the narrative again to make these other people look at you a little different. You see how lies play so much into our lives and so much into our movements that we don't even realize consciously sometimes that we're lying. I could be lying to you right now about this information, but it's about my truths. These are the things that I'm talking about are my truths. Why do I have to lie to you? That's why the motto again of the Rory Tierras group is you cannot withdraw what you did not deposit. All I do is withdraw from my self account and my daily account of what I put into my life. All I'm doing is providing information for you to make you see yourself from a different perspective. And I want you to know that I'm getting ready to go somewhere. There's also other perspectives of lies that are also connected to different people's beliefs. So let me explain that a little bit. I want you to understand that there's some literature out there that talks about in the beginning, this is how this was created. Well, I want to let you in on a little secret. The world that we actually live in today is 4.5 billion years old. Once again, it's 4.5 billion years old. So that sun that you see, hopefully in your neighborhood this morning or this afternoon, wherever you're located, that sun that you see has been burning that bright for 4.5 billion years. Now, how long has man been on Earth? Going back to its most primitive form, man has only been on Earth 1.5 million years. The Earth is 4.5 billion years old, and written language has only been in existence for over 5,000 years. So when we try to describe and tell people about what happened in the beginning, we have no clue. We have no clue. Written language is only 5,000 years old. Primitive man who really wasn't a cognitive thinker or had any conscious thoughts could not tell you what happened 1.5 million years ago. So we don't know how long it took for this earth to be established. We don't know what happened prior to primitive man being discovered or placed on this earth. We don't know what the all had in store or created before we became conscious people. Stay woke, people. Stay woke. Stay with me. You might see where I'm trying to go with this. Okay? So, it also has lies, also have influence on progress. You know, I have one of my books that talks about numbers don't lie, people do. Why do people influence people to do things to advance their agenda when they're not putting in the work in that individual to help them advance their agenda? What they do is they tell them that other people told them that this person is X, Y, and Z. So it may seem like, oh, I'm just twisting the truth a little bit, but do you understand how that can affect someone's mind if you're telling this person that other people are saying great things about them and other people don't even know they exist? Do you understand what that can do to some people's mind? These are the things that are going on right now in this world, and we're at the crossroads in this world based on something that happened over the last few months that is going to change the projections of where we go based on the truth not being told, because the people who are talking are not cognizant enough or competent enough to understand the things that they're talking about, so they just continue to talk. They just continue to talk. And the more someone talks, the more people listen, the more they believe that it's the truth, right? So I can tell you a lie right now, all day. I can tell you 10 times a lie. And then at the end of this segment, I can tell you the truth. But you're going to believe the lie because you've heard it 10 times. That's just how the brain operates. So we're trying to explain to you how the brain operates, how you hear lies, and how you don't do the work sometimes to research the lies. Let's talk about segment 3. The dual nature of lies. Positive or negative consequences. Lies have built civilizations. Lies have broken down civilizations. Lies have started wars. Lies have ended wars. Right? We have to look at some of the propaganda that has been spoken about some of the things that occur. We've had some things in our country that some conspiracy theorists have spoken about, spoken against. We talk about the 9/11 attacks. We talk about certain people being responsible for certain things in the world. We talk about that the people who are representing us have our best interests at hand. That's the propaganda that we are all fed. I want to talk about the moral implications of propaganda. Propaganda sometimes misleads people down the wrong path, and some people follow that path only to end up in a hole where nothing exists. And so that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the propaganda. We're talking about how lies also change the thoughts about separation of people, how people are separated based on their beliefs. It may not be their beliefs, it may be this fact that they believe that this lie has more validity than the truth. And have they seeked out the truth? I don't know. Now let's talk about segment number 4. Is it the greatest gift or the greatest curse? Because when people say, well, why would you say it's the greatest gift? I'm not saying it's the greatest gift. The gift is something that you use the most. Some people may say, no, I get a gift and I put it away. Well, why would you accept the gift and not utilize the gift? If a person thought that much of you to give you a gift, why not utilize it? There's people who pontificate about their position in this world. You know, I went back and looked at some files of different individuals who I've worked with over the years, and looked at some of the narrative that they put down as far as where they are in their journey. And I explained to them, how can you ask me for help, but not be willing to tell yourself the truth? Why do you continue to lie to yourself when you know that the lies that you've been living are the lies that are driving you to destruction? Why do you believe that that's the thing? So when I say this is the greatest gift or the greatest curse, it depends on how much we use the gift. And it seems like if you were to evaluate the truth that goes on in your day during the course of a day, or the lies, I guarantee you, if you took a journal and you wrote down how many interactions you had, how many times you were on the phone with somebody, how many times your thoughts, yourself, how many times was a lie introduced to you? And if you wrote down, you would see that we are in an imbalanced world of misinformation. We are in a situation where information is twisted to advance the other person's agenda, or the person we are looking at. So when you're talking about when certain situations are lies or the truth, you just have to look at how it's delivered and what's the purpose of it. So I said I wasn't going to really talk a little bit, but I said I was going to circle back through politics a little bit. One of the things that I've been going through is so many people have approached me at the gym this week, and people of all persuasions and genders, and they've asked me, I guess they asked me because I'm black, are you upset? Why would I be upset when I already knew what was going to occur? The thing that makes me upset, and I'm going to say it's really not making me upset because it's your life, you have to live with it. The thing that makes me upset are the individuals who believed the lies, who believe that any individual had the interest of you as the best option, as their best option. Let me tell you why I'm saying that. If you were the focus, the American people, or if it was going international, anybody in their country who had an election or something going on, if you were the focus, right? All of those billions of dollars that were raised to campaign and to market and to spit out so much distorted, dehumanizing information would have been spent on some of the things that you were most concerned about. Do you know what those billions of dollars could have done to the economy if they invested those dollars into the economy? You know what those millions and billions of dollars could have did if they invested it into relieving homelessness? Everywhere I go, I see things building. I see places building. I see houses going up. I see apartment complexes going up. I see townhomes going up. I see all of the large buildings being built, but I also see the homeless population increasing. So unless you have a secret group of individuals who are coming to this country, you're building houses for who? You're building houses for who? Unless you're going to provide resources for the homeless population to put them in these homes, Why are you building? You're spending money not on the people, but you're spending money just on the fact that you could do it. So these are the things that the modern day lies and misinformation are some of the things that are very, very important to me. Now, what I want to do, my closing thoughts, I want to say this. I want to say to you, I want you to consider personal experience with lies. Have lies ever served them? Have lies ever served your purpose? Or have you used lies to protect yourself? Or have you said the lies are really not that important to me because I don't receive them? My life is operating in the truth. That's why I said early, go journal and see how many interactions you have during the day and that you know that they're lies. How many lies have you been have been submitted to your cipher, and you looked at it and said, I know this is the truth, not the truth. How many people do you know right now that are selling you a dream, not knowing that you know the reality of their life when they're awoke, right? I have people that I know who are telling everybody else in the world that they have all of this money, they have all of these cars, they have 3 properties, and the reality of their life is that they're living in their mother's basement. Why would you make up such a story to tell other people when the reality is that someone knows the truth about you? And one day that person's going to be in the company of you telling those lies. And what do you expect that person to do? To support your lie? Or should that person call you out and tell you that when you are capable of fulfilling that truth, then you should share that narrative, right? But I want to give you a real quick, before I go into my ending, I want to give you a few quick things that we were told that people would say that are lies that most people have bought into, and some people that shape people's lives. And when we talk about from a therapist perspective, when we get people who are trying to cleanse some of their vicarious trauma, these are some of the biggest things that come up. So I want to let you know you may be part of that. You may need some assistance in clearing some of your vicarious trauma. Some of these things that you were told that were lies that people use to manipulate your elevation. One of them is that you're not enough. How many people have ever heard you're not good enough, you're unqualified enough, I wish you had more experience? How many people have heard that? Those are lies. People already know what they want to do, and they're just trying to sort of tell you something that they think will make you go away and not work harder. Okay? What about money equals happiness? How many people say if you got more money, you're going to be happy? But what did Big say? Big said more money, more problems, right? So if you understand that, you got to understand that money doesn't equal happiness. I know people who have a lot of money and don't have any friends. And what they do is they buy their friends, and then when their money runs out, they lose those friends. Just look at some of the stories of 30 for 30 on athletes who have entourages that they take care of. And then when the money runs out, they're sitting there all by themselves. What happened to the people that were supposed to be supportive of them, who are unwilling now to help them because you didn't teach them how to make money and continue to make money. All you did was support their habits and their dreams. So those are lies that happen with people. What about one of the biggest ones? This is the one that definitely resonates in this world, that one race is superior to another. This is sort of the narrative of what we're talking about that just happened. Now I want to ask people this one question. It's not has nothing to do with my affiliation or who I voted for, but I want to ask people one question, and this has been going on for some years now. The Magna motto is "Make America Great Again." I really want to ask everybody out there, if you can reflect on the years you've been on this earth, on this planet, can you tell me a day that you realize and recognize that America was great for all? Everybody. You can walk down the street, you can see your friends, you can see the people at work, you can see this where everybody was so very excited to say that America's great, America's equal, America is the place for everybody to prosper. You tell me what that means to a lot of people, to the majority of people actually. Because even some of the people who voted under that banner are some of the people who are struggling the most. So when you're struggling, you're living in a lie that you're going to support something that's going to make it great again. You are not great because of your circumstances and the choices that you made in life. And no man or no model can change that for you. You have to change it for yourself, right? So, what about you can't change the system? This is what they tell you. They tell you to vote and you can change the system. You can change what's going on. But how many times, how many phone calls for the people who get mail? The last few months, you've been inundated with mail in your box about choose this, vote for this person, do this, do that. And I can tell you in the last week, how much mail have you received that tells you anything about what the politician who won is going to do for you? They make so many promises that they can't deliver. They select people in positions that won't deliver. All they do is they're out for their own agenda. And if you don't believe that, then you have to be a part of the change of the system. Don't sit on the sidelines and complain. Be a part of the system. Mentor some other. If you're too old, mentor some individuals who can get into the system and change the system, and don't change with the system. Right? This is the other thing. This is the one I'm going to tell you that's the biggest one for me. This is some of the myths. It says truth belongs to only a few. Truth belongs to all. Your truth is your truth. Your connection to a higher power is that truth. And if you believe in your truth, then you don't have to walk around a lie. If you believe in the fact that you've put in the work to be the best that you can possibly be, you don't have to walk around in posture and tell people that you're doing much better than you really are. You don't have to lie because people can already see it. People can see it by your actions. People can see it by the things that you brag about, but collectively you don't have. You know, I got a friend who tells me he has a $95,000 car, but every time I see him, he's in an Uber. He says, well, you know, I may go on and have a drink and I don't want to destroy my car. Why would you lie about a car if every time I see you, you're in Uber? Right? So you have to stop making up these stories to uplift yourself. You have to stop these stories because these are the stories that are going to sort of navigate and also dictate how you move through life and how you interact with people and how people interact with you. But this is where I want to end today. I want to end today because some of you know I am a writer. And I'm going to show you my book again because this is the book that's going to change the whole thing. This is the book right here. The Man That's Missing in Me. I want you to go to www.rorytedwards.com. I want you to look on my shop page. I want you to scroll down. You'll see all of the 9 books that I have written. And that book is probably the most, all my books are powerful. Let me take that back. It's probably one that's going to help individuals going forward because it gives you an opportunity not only to reflect on the men that you have been involved with, because everybody who's breathing today in this world has a man in their life, either positive, negative, or indifferent. You have a man or a male in your life. So you need to understand what makes them think, sometimes what made them tick, what made them not be a part of your life, what made them be overzealous in your life, what made them very aggressive in their lives. You got to understand some of that stuff, and all that stuff can be found in that book. But I want to leave you today with this poem that I wrote. So that's why I was sort of leading up to about a poem that I wrote based on what I've seen and what I've heard over the last few months. And I just want you to reflect on it. I want you to see how it marinates with you because there's a saying that my grandmother used to always tell me. She said, there's 2 things that she told me. One, she said, if you throw a rock into a pack of dogs, the hit dog will holler. So none of my information is about anyone. It's about situations that I've encountered, stuff that has been brought to my attention, things that I think that land on my spirit that I have to share. And the other thing that she told me that most people, and this is what's going to lead right into this poem, she said the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world that he didn't exist. And when she told me that, I looked it up and I said, what does that mean? So it says the idea suggests that evil is most effective when it goes unnoticed or is denied entirely. By making people believe that he or the concept of evil does not exist, the devil or evil in general can operate freely, influencing actions and decisions without resistance. That's what that meant. Because I've heard people say to me, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist. So with that said, this is what I came up with, and I want you all to understand this is written by me. This has nothing to do with anybody else. No copyright infringements. It's all me. It's all me, right? It says, of a man they whispered, whose words promised light. They followed him blindly, lost in the night. With voices so hollow and hearts full of trust, they clung to his words, though born only of dust. His tales wove illusions of wisdom and grace, yet offered no substance, no truth to embrace. They dug through his riddles, clawed through his love, hoping to find what he had hidden before. But shadows grew thicker, the warmth turned cold, as they unearthed nothing but an empty hole. For words without truth leave souls unfulfilled and promises empty no matter how skilled. They learned in the silence as night met the dawn that wisdom is earned, not passed along like a song. It's found in the living, the scars we bear, not in hollow words spun from the air. We have to realize, people, that we're at the crossroads right now, and we need to make a decision on if we're going to live our lives in lies, or we are going to combat the lies with our truths. This is our segment today on House Calls with Dr. Rory T. Edwards. Once again, if you need to reach out to us, you can send us an email at rorytedwards1@gmail.com, or you may make comments on this particular platform, or you may also go to our website and book a consultation with www.rorytedwards.com. And one of our esteemed therapists from the Rory T. Edwards group will reach out to you, and we will try to make you balanced in your narrative and how you receive information and how you disseminate information and how you live in a life of truth versus walking around in a cloud of lies. It's your man, Rory T. Edwards. I thank you all for staying with me today. I know we went a little longer, but I believe this was very, very important message today, and I hope that you find value in it. And I hope that if you get it and you know someone who needs to hear this, please share this with them. This is what our whole purpose is to share our information, to share the gifts that God has given me to give to you. All right? So until we talk again, you stay blessed, stay woke, and continue to live in the truth. Ashe.